This is Solomonic Demons, and today we're going to be talking about the real problem with Chinese-made guitars. Now, this is my Kramer Pacer, and this is one of the level entry guitars that Kramer have in the market right now. Kramer is a sub-brand of Gibson. Now, if I'm not recalling wrong, this guitar is made in the Chinese factory of Epiphone, and like I said, this is a level entry guitar. And Kramer and Epiphone is not the only big brand that build guitars on China, right? One of my first guitars actually was an Ibanez Geo that I bought all the way back in 2004, and this guitar was made in China, in the core factory, I think. So guitars have been produced in China for a while. And not only Ibanez and Epiphone had been building guitars in China. I think that the majority of big guitar brands have been making guitars on China, or at least their level entry of guitars had been made in China. The only big brand that so far I don't think that haven't introduced Chinese line of guitars is PRS. Even new brands like Solar Guitars now have their sub-brand of guitars that are made in China. And that's only the big brands, you know. There is hundreds or thousands of small companies of unknown brands that make guitars on China. It's usually copies of Gibson Les Pauls or Fender Stratocasters. Now these guitars can be found in Amazon, in eBay, and like I said, usually these guitars are really cheap, because it seems that if you want to produce a cheap and a really affordable guitar, the way to go is make it in China. Now, the question is, are these guitars good? Now, like I said, I've been playing guitar for 20 years. Now, when I was young, when I was a beginner, I didn't really know the difference between good quality guitar or good craftsmanship on a guitar. I only wanted to play guitar, and I think that everyone that wants to start playing an instrument, everyone that wants to start playing guitar, and especially if you are a teenager, the only thing that you want is to get a guitar. And even $100, even $200, it is expensive to you. It was back then. I remember that the Ibanez Geo that I bought cost me $200. I had to sell my Super Nintendo, my Nintendo 64, and just to being able to get that guitar. And this is all the way back when I used to live in my country, and not even here in the United States. And until this day, I still have that guitar. Actually, it is not here in the studio, it is in my mom's home, but I still have it. And going back to the topic, what is the problem with these guitars? You know, like I said, Chinese guitars always have been focused for beginners, and obviously if you are interested to learn to play guitar, unless you really have tons of money, you're gonna go to a store and buy a Gibson Les Paul Standard, or you're gonna look for a starting kit guitar maybe, or a guitar like this. You know, this guitar in retail price, it is $379, something like that. It's less than $400. And maybe you find it on sale, like I found this one was $200, and you're gonna take it home, right? It looks cool, you know, it comes with a Floyd Rose, and that's what usually the rock stars play, right? So you think that you're gonna have all the tools, you think that you're gonna learn, but what is the problem? These instruments, I'm not saying that are bad. This guitar is actually really good for the price. I think that is on the level of a guitar that costs $1,000 or more. I feel that this can be a professional instrument. I had to work a lot on it. Actually, in one of my videos, you guys saw me that I had to file all the frets because when I bought this guitar, it was unplayable. But after that, after doing a small setup, the guitar, it is really good, and don't have anything to envy to my Jackson Dinky made in USA or my Jackson Dinky Professional made in Mexico. Are guitars that are priced on $1,000 or above. Even if this guitar only comes with a Floyd Rose Special with unbranded pickups, it's all pretty decent. Like I said, after the filing and crowning of the frets that I did, the guitar feels phenomenal, and it just needed a little setup. I mean, if we are honest, almost everything that we consume these days is made in China, from electronics, toys, furniture, appliances, etc., right? But guitars are not a piece of furniture. Even if guitars these days are made on a production line with a CNC machine, they still need to pass a quality control. There is steps that need to be done to see if the instrument is useful. So how can we create instruments with pride? I mean, electric guitars. And this is where things get complicated, because if we compare China with Indonesia, for example, the Indonesian people, they consume a lot of Western music. They consume a lot of rock, a lot of metal. Same thing for Japan. If we go all back to the 90s, to the 80s, to the 70s, there was bands that became bigger in Japan before that in the United States. So they were consuming Western music. Plus, Japanese had been making guitars from all the way back to the 60s, electric guitars. Kenda Chokai was one of the first companies that started building high quality instruments that were coming from Japan. A similar story with Korea, even if they don't build guitars as much as they used to do, China is different. I mean, in 1966, the Western music was banned altogether in China, and it wasn't until recent years that in the biggest cities, and obviously I'm not talking about Hong Kong because Hong Kong is out of the context of this conversation, the rest of the China, the mainland China, the communist China. And it wasn't until the 1990s that the music started to get intro in an unexpected way again in China. But like I said, this is limited, and maybe that's why there is companies like Eastman. There are small companies that make incredible instruments, and this is a Chinese company. But when we are talking about corporations, the problem, like I said, it is inconsistent. Now, what do I mean with inconsistent? Well, like I said, I went from store to store, not trying the best one, looking the one that had less problems, less flaws. Now, last year, Epiphone introduced the Epiphone inspired by Gibson guitars, and these guitars go all the way to $1,500. And I'm gonna be focusing on a specific model because they introduced a couple of it. These guitars come with the open book headstock of Gibson, come with Gibson pickups, and recently I went to a guitar center to try one, and I got very disappointed because I see the same inconsistency. I mean, you gotta go try one in person just to make sure that you're gonna get a bad guitar. Inconsistency in craftsmanship. Some of them are decent, some of them are really good, but some of them are totally crap. The guitars wearing superior of a Epiphone Les Paul standard that is $600. These guitars come with the open book headstock with the nice Gibson pickups, but are not superior in craftsmanship. China has been and keeps doing the same thing that they have been doing. They have the CNC machines, sometimes they make good guitars. It seems that when they are running the production on time, you get guitars really well crafted, but it seems that when they have to run for production, they don't really care about the final product. So you don't get consistency in quality. Like I said, I don't mind if a $100, $400 guitar comes with flaws, an Epiphone Les Paul Classic or Epiphone Les Paul Standard, and if I have to work on it, I don't care. But with a $1,500 guitar, once again, you give me the same level of craftsmanship and you just put your fancy pickups on it and you want to call it a day. I don't agree with that. I don't think that China have developed a culture to make guitars yet. And I don't think that they have pride, they have passion to make guitars, at least for big companies. They just want to meet the deadlines, they just want to do the production, they just want to make money. And like I said, for a budget guitar, that's fine. But now that the guitars are getting more and more expensive, we have a problem. So yeah, I think that is the real problem with Chinese made guitars. And it has been the same problem for over 30 years. The only difference now is that you see guitars that are made in China priced on $1,500. So yeah, this was Solomon of Solomonic Demons. Thank you so much for watching this video. Take care and bye.